Right there? Testing?
Yep.
Alright, good. Do you have the, let me get the computer slicks work.
Hold on, I'm trying to fix What's up, y'all? It's good. It's cracking, man. You know what I'm saying? We on the Mark and Andre show. We doing it, you know what I'm saying?
This is how we do in the back of the lack. You know what I'm saying?
It's getting done, you feel me?
That's how we do. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
This is the New York podcast, beat.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Huh?
Too hot.
It's the New York podcast.
So hot, man.
Does that look good or no?
It's looking good. It's looking good. Oh, it actually started?
Yeah.
Let me say something.
Huh? Sound boy? I mean, sound lad. Excuse me.
You have a name and you have a soul. I trust you.
He has a what? Are we recording on this little bad
No,
boy?
I never hit.
Oh, okay, yeah, we won't record yet here. Not for a little bit. Who's ready to get some genius then? Who's ready to learn something? Some genius then?
Ready?
That's what Dusty Rhodes used to say when he was writing out like storylines. He's like, no, just wait, I'm genius then. I'm genius then right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a... Oh. Yeah. Well, I have all my teeth, so that's good. It's a good look. Alright, we can do that. We can work with that. That's workable. This is live, right? This is absolutely live. Oh. Drinking coffee to stay awake and active, to stay smiling, to stain the teeth,
To stain the teeth in particular.
I'm gonna show you guys, how this works. Because I don't know why, when I sip the coffee, I put my fucking teeth first. I use it like a filter, and I just take all that coffee to the teeth.
Straight to the teeth. Straight to the teat.
I should probably get a straw. I think that's why people use straws, so they don't stain their teeth. But, I made my bed, so I'll lie in it, you know what I mean? You can only, you gotta crush a few omelets to make an egg, you know what I mean? We're just letting our buddy Mark handle his business, and then we'll get started. Don't worry about that sound in the background. That was merely a small boy falling to his doom.
No audio?
No.
Okay. There's too much audio. It's triple audio.
It's fine.
That looks fantastic. Yo. Oi. That's yo in reverse. And ever serve is reverse in reverse. Race car is race car in reverse.
Spelled backwards, baby. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
We're just fixing up some things. He's Facebooking real quick, and then once he's done Facebooking, we'll get to you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask him, or we'll respond to him as promptly as possible, within our means of possibility. So it might not be very soon. It might be after the podcast. It might be in a couple of weeks. It might not ever be. You know what I mean? ASAP is what I make it. As soon as possible is through my possibility. Postability
Yeah.
for all of our Italians out there. We don't want to be negligent. We're not negligent. We know you exist. Shout out to my Italians.
Pasta play hater.
And shout out to all my impastas out there. I wonder if there's a pastor whose last name is Pasta. Like, not a joke. Pastor Pasta.
You would have to go in being a pastor for 2 months and be like,
I gotta change. I gotta stop. Pasta, please.
I'll just be a nun. I'll switch it up.
What would be even more entertaining is having a pastor called Pass the Buck.
Pastor Buck?
Yeah, Pastor
Offering?
Oh, yeah, what was it? Oh, yeah,
Pastor
Pastor Offering. The last name's hi, I'm Oswald Offering.
Also known as Pastor Offering.
So make sure you pass that shit down. get a plate over there.
We wrote a play. We actually wrote a play where one of our characters
Changes are saved.
Was a pastor. I believe his name was Pastor Offering. It's a play that none of you will ever fucking see.
Yeah, it was. I can't write plays for shit.
No, because we gave it to we passed it to Tyler Perry. And bad move, dude. As soon as we gave it to Tyler Perry, he was like, honestly, it's good. The writing's good. I like where you guys are going direction wise, but there's simply not enough cross dressing.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Orange Space in beautiful Redlands, California, Mark and Andre present the Mark and Andre Show. Tonight's topics. Let's talk about Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, the space between us movie review, and are you really protesting for social media attention? It's all coming live to you here on the Mark and Andre Show.
That's explosive.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Mark and Andre Show. I am your handsome host, alongside with this handsome little chum here, Andre Gaynor.
I'm handsome too.
The overlord of Lyricology 101, the deity of Lyricology 101, this guy right here. If you need to learn how to rap, hit him up. He teaches it, and you have 30,000 subs on YouTube.
38.
38, great.
I think it's 38 now.
I like how...
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, something happened. One of the videos blew up, it got a lot of attention, and now we're at 38,000.
I like the fact that every time I have to ask how many subs you have this time, it I
goes
like
up.
that. Yeah. I like the fact that I have to keep asking because you know what? You always got to strive for the top, tippy top.
I'll be honest, guys. It's really about, I don't know. I try not to look at the numbers so I don't get discouraged, to be really honest. And I come back and something new happens every week, so it's a blessing in itself.
There we go. That's the way you got to think, man. The first topic that I want to get out of the way, and by the way, you guys are listening to and watching on streaming on Mr.StreamThing. Mr.StreamThing GTP. Yes, exactly.
We got the GTP part down. We're killing it on that part.
We want to let you guys know that you are listening or watching to the Mark and Andre Show, the only film, entertainment, and conspiracy theory podcast on Spreaker.com and on iHeartRadio.
To our knowledge.
To our knowledge. Be sure, if you guys don't like to listen live, be sure to download it off of iHeartRadio or Spreaker.com, or even like the page on YouTube to listen to it again at some other time. Sometimes I open up a YouTube video and I just put it on my Bluetooth in my car, and I just listen to it on the way to wherever I'm going.
Yeah, just let it run. Sometimes you might not be able to provide your full attention, but you might hear something and learn something.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're going to implement a few changes here on the Mark and Andre podcast show. If you guys didn't know before, the previous episode that we done in relation to Arnold Schwarzenegger and the electric car, that podcast in particular was the shortest one we've done, and we're due to the ideas that I want to get across now. I want to make sure to make this at least underneath an hour. So we're not going to waste any more of your time. Let's talk about the movie that we checked out on Thursday, The Space Between Us. And we went into the theater, and there's two things about going into a movie theater and knowing that you're going into a bad movie. When the ticket seller asks, "What movie is? What movie are you watching?
What is this? The Space Between Us."
Okay, let me look that up. When they have to look up on the computer,
she went to the computer. She walked away for a second and went to a computer and looked it up. Oh, okay. There's a 7 o'clock. We had a time and everything, and she didn't even know that there was a 7, a certain time for it to be showing.
And the other thing is that when you go into a movie theater 10 minutes into the showing and there's no one in the movie theater.
No one.
I swear, I think the guy who was sweeping up the popcorn thought that we were going to go have a free-for-all inside the movie theater because it was that empty.
Yeah, there was this guy who was he was obviously supposed to be cleaning. He kept walking in looking
just making sure we're not.
Are they supposed to be in there?
Making sure I didn't put a hole in the popcorn.
For real, he's all watching us. It was weird. It was very awkward, but Those were two humongous red flags right off the bat.
Yes.
And we thought, oh, maybe, there might be a couple or something that walks in late into the film, but no one.
Yeah.
No one came in.
The space between us in the first and second act really went on strong. Going into the third act completely sucked the atmosphere out of the movie with several things that didn't need to be involved in it. But there's a lot of pluses for this movie as we were watching it in the beginning intro, about 15 to 20 minutes. Good shots, good location. The shots were placed very well, parallel lines you could draw visualizing it. And Gary Oldman was stealing the show for us in the first 15 minutes.
Sorry I don't want to cut you off, but nobody knows what you're talking about. Like, nobody knows what this film is.
Exactly.
So, just a brief synopsis. This film is about a young boy that was born on Mars. That's a good place to start. Yeah. It's a young boy born on Mars, and he ends up coming back to Earth to meet somebody from Earth that he was communicating with.
Yeah.
So basically, he comes to meet his love.
Dude, I'm so hopped up right now that I completely forgot to bring the synopsis. That's a good sign there. I'm attentive, but
that's how little the film registered in our brains that we even forgot to tell you what the film was about. But basically, this young kid from Mars actually comes to Earth. And, there's all these little, look at the hijinks of him getting used to being on Earth because gravity's different and everything about Earth is completely different from being on Mars. He's never experienced Earth before. He's never seen water, cool shit like that. And then he meets this girl, and then that's the film from there.
Yeah.
So, it sounds interesting, but it also sounds like a fucking chick flick.
The synopsis had a lot of promise.
It did. It was a very unique premise. And it was like, okay, that should be pretty cool.
The quirky things about him, and there's one scene in the space between us where the boy in the film experiences rain for the first time, and it is genuinely a great portrayal of how someone would see rain for the first time.
If they've never experienced it before, they'd be flipping the fuck out and losing their shit.
Great color usage as well within this film.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to say.
Excellent work. Okay, overall, just in regards to, the cinematography, which he mentioned, shit is good. Some fucking good cinematography. Like, a lot of great balance, a lot of, great work with proportions, distancing, angling, a lot of placement. Everything is put in the right place for every shot.
Exactly.
And there's even particular moving shots that transition from a very specific angle with a specific proportion and balance, and they shifted into a completely new balance. It's incredible, the work that they did. And it's unfortunate because that is the strong suit of the film.
Yeah.
It's the shots were so fantastic, the experience and the scale was so fantastic that it was man, this film is directed so well. It's a very competently directed film, but the story it's literally rape. And it's not literally rape, but it's just it gets you engaged. You feel something for a moment, and then suddenly the film decides you've been roofied and you're now in a basement somewhere and everything sucks.
Too many tone shifts.
Too many tone shifts that you can't gauge your experience. You don't know what the fuck is going on. At one moment, it feels like a very passionate love story, right? It feels like this kind of not Romeo and Juliet, but just like this puppy love type of adventure. And then the tone switches to a very serious, we gotta get this kid from Mars or else things are gonna go bad. Yeah. And now there's a lot of tension all of a sudden. And then it turns into a fucking Disney movie out of nowhere where it's just this blissful, cute colors everywhere and there's confetti being thrown around, literally.
Yeah.
And then there's these dumb road trip moments. Now it's a road trip film. Okay, what's the tone here? And then we're back to, we gotta get this fucking kid from Mars. It kept switching to the point where you're like, what is this film?
It's like the film didn't know what it wanted to be.
Exactly.
And one thing I wanted to point out as well is that this movie would have worked if the two main characters were actually a little bit older, because some of the things that went down between the two characters, the girl and the boy, the actual love interest of themselves. Is that they were in high school, and there's certain things that were a little were a little loose-ended, and it just didn't seem real logical for that to happen within it. And if they were older, I would say like the mid-20s or early 20s, it would have worked.
A lot of the shit that they did, a high schooler wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that they got away with, like somebody would have been like, I need some ID. What the fuck's going on here? And that's exactly, like, there were a lot of moments in the film we were watching, like, there's no way they got away with that. There's no way that, like, no one stopped them. There's no way they didn't get pulled over. There's no way somebody didn't kill them. You know, like, there's a lot of those moments where it's like, okay, we're kind of drifting out of realism. The film took a realistic approach, and then it's just forgot. And that's when it turns into a Disney movie. And then all of a sudden there's hippies, and then there's shamans. And I'm being so vague, but at this point, you guys aren't going to see this shit. Fuck it. Spoilers? Don't watch this movie.
Exactly.
So
we're going to have to do that.
We're just going to get to it.
The space between us had the great acting presence of Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman killed it.
This guy even played a Jamaican dude one time in Hopeless Romance, or what was it? The joint with Christian Slater. True Romance, excuse me. He played a Jamaican dude. Gary Oldman could play anything. This guy played his heart out in this film, but the role that he had wasn't written well.
It wasn't.
And you'll be able to see that going in, because the first two acts, Gary Coleman comes in.
That's the problem I had too. They completely replaced Gary Oldman with Gary Coleman suddenly, and he's fucking Gary Coleman's dead, guys. So I don't know how they CG'd a lot of his face. It was really disturbing. A lot of character switching was getting out of hand. But no, in all seriousness, the first act is what made us go, this is going to be a good film experience. The first act had us like, yo, I'm really like, this is going to be fucking dope.
Yeah.
And then the second act comes, and suddenly Gary Oldman's character changes.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman had a very particular character, and by the second act, it's like, who's this guy now? He's turned into a totally new person. And I mean, Gary Oldman's the man still. He's still killing his role, but the character doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, we don't know what happened with him. So we started losing him in the second act. By the third act, everything's off the rails. Nothing makes sense anymore. And you're fucking pissed. And they're trying to do these creative bows and tie things up, but none of it makes sense. How did this character know that they would be here? And how did this, it was fucking nonsense.
Yeah, there was tons of questions that needed to be answered during the second and the third act. And at this point, when we were watching this film, nearing the end of it, we just wanted to wrap this up. It was so loose-ended. There were so many plot holes in the movie.
A lot of foreshadowing they tried to attempt early in the film, and then they tried to wrap it up at the end.
And there was an instance where you called a certain piece of dialogue. Andre literally spit out the line moments before it happened, and then I did it after.
And then called every plot twist that came afterwards. So basically, this kid, all right, so his mom, this is the film, we'll do it as quick as possible.
Yes.
So there's a team of astronauts, they're doing the Mars, thing, they're going to send the astronauts to Mars to colonize it from Earth, right? So they have a squad, there's one female and 7 dudes. And on the trip to Mars, the female astronaut discovers that she's pregnant. Yeah. So they get to Mars. By the time they get to Mars, it's time for her to have the baby. She's having the baby, and she fucking dies during the procedure of having the child.
Exactly.
So the kid is technically born a Martian, technically, right? He's not a fucking alien, but he is born on Mars.
Those illegal aliens.
Yeah, those illegal aliens, man.
Always trying to come back to Earth.
Invading from Mars. So, yeah, the kid grows up to be 16, and he has a pen pal on Earth. And this chick on Earth has no clue that he's on Mars. There's no lag between their connection. None of that shit.
He lies and says that he's from East New York.
East Texas, and he has a debilitating disease, so he can't see her.
Yeah.
But then, as science requires, NASA needs him to come to Earth because they need to study this kid, and he can't stay on Mars anymore. This is fucked up. So they prepare him and they send him to Mars. He gets here, and the first thing he does is escapes NASA to find this girl.
Never been on Kennedy Earth. Kennedy Air Center or Kennedy.
Walks out.
Space Center just escapes one of the most secure places because it has NASA related technology in it. But yeah, he escapes between the pallets of a truck.
Doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't know where the fuck he is, just stumbling about, looking ridiculous, dancing in the rain. He's never experienced Earth before, so he just runs to random people. What's your favorite thing about Earth? And they always have a dumbass answer.
But he knew to catch a greyhound.
He caught a greyhound somehow. Nobody explains how this happens. And he ends up going straight to the high school where the girl is that's been writing him. And he shows up, and she's like mad at him because you didn't talk to me. Oh, I had to fly here for fucking Mars. And she's like, I don't believe you. You're an asshole. Anyway, he tells her, look, I need to find my daddy. Yeah, because his mom's dead. I need to find my papa. So all he has is a single picture of his dad, and he goes, I know my dad lives at this random location in California. Have no clue in California, but he lives in California. Let's go. And she says, okay, and she takes him. And then it turns into E.T. because now all these people are chasing him and this female to... oh my God. Anyway, we fast forward.
Martian, man.
Yeah, fuck. Basically, we fast forward. He gets to the house where the picture was taken, where his mom and so-called dad was there. No. He meets the guy, and the guy goes, what are you talking about? I'm not your father. This is some bullshit. What do you mean? I'm not, I'm her brother. And big old plot twist. Everybody's like confused. And then he says, fuck it, I'm going to kill myself now. The Martian just goes, I have no reason to live. So he just starts walking into the ocean and tries to drown himself.
That was the line that you predicted, is like, if I can't go back home,
I'm just going to kill myself.
I'm just going to off myself.
So he's trying to drown himself. And then suddenly Gary Oldman pulls him out of the water and goes, I'm your father. Jeez. After all of this like drama with him trying to chase him down, he's the main guy trying to chase him down. And basically at the end he goes, I'm your dad. I'm the one. I'm your father. I love you. Yeah. And then we find out that our Martian character is dying because he can't handle being on Earth. So they go, all right, we got to send you back to Mars. Sorry, you're just not going to make it here. It's not going to work out. So he just goes, hey, girl, I love you. Too bad this road trip didn't work out. It's cool. We fucked at one point in the trip and peace. And he gets on the spaceship and he goes back to Mars. And that's the end of our film.
And the ish of tying up closure to a side plot that didn't even complete itself. Didn't complete itself, but they had no established plot between the two characters.
No sub arcs were completed.
I want to tell you guys is that I had a lot of faith going into this movie. I was talking to Andre about it since we were only people in the theater. We were running our yaps. We were thinking about this, thinking about that,
talking shit, joking.
But this movie had so much promise going from the first act on, and then from the second act, there was a few things that were excusable. But then from the third act on, with the two plot twists and untied storylines with no closure,
the characters are not really in love.
I can't believe it, but we're gonna have to give. I gave this movie a 3 out of 10. It's a piece of shit.
2 out of 10.
Yeah.
If anything, if I could recommend anything, I recommend you stay for the first act and just leave and then make assumptions from there. Because any assumption that you make will be wrong because the film just goes in. This is what happened. I can feel it. When you see it, you'll know it. The directing is super competent, but I can tell that the script writers, there were so many rewrites. They passed the script to the studio. The studio said, that's cool, but we want them to fall in love like this. Or we want the symbolic angel, because he's supposed to, there's a lot of symbology in the film. He's supposed to be an angel, and the girl's supposed to be a human that he blesses or some shit. All these little sub things that they wanted to implement into the script, they had to change the entire movie for all these rewrites. By the time you get to the end of the movie, nothing makes sense anymore.
And the one thing I wanted to actually add closure with this movie is that they didn't have any closure within the two main characters that fell in love.
Right.
There was no closure of that.
You want to know the truth? He fucks this chick and leaves. He comes from Mars, gets some pussy, then he goes back to Mars, and they never talk again.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's basically it.
The space between us, 3 out of 10 for me. Andre, 2 out of 10. We don't recommend you see it, and we spoiled it. This is the first time we're going spoilers into it. But
don't waste your time.
Don't want you guys to see this.
Don't waste your money. Don't take your girl on a date to see it. She's not going to dome you up during the film.
You'll probably get a divorce if you're married.
Yeah, she's not going to be in the mood. Don't bring her in for anything. I mean, if you want to try something in the theater, nobody was in
the nickname for this movie should be anti-Viagra. It will not get you going, and it won't get your lady going.
Soft.
Sound Lad, do we have any comments or funny jokes?
Robert Wanko said, "Suspension of disbelief, bro. You're movie-ing wrong."
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And then he said, "Spaceman, seaman."
Yes.
And then there's a whole level of this movie you guys are missing.
No, there's multiple layers to the film, and that's where the rewrites came in. The rewrites came in to establish the subliminal layer, right? We always talk about our subliminal layers in films and all that, but the subliminal layer isn't even worth our time. The subliminal layer is an angelic story. An angel came down from heaven and, subliminally blessed this individual. That's the plot line subliminally in the film.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to heaven. That's exactly the subliminal message of the whole film.
Yeah.
But even that layer sucked. So the whole film experience was whack based on the original layer and the subliminal layer.
We're really optimistic when it comes to watching movies, and we always give. I mean, we watch shitty movies on the regular, and even with these, I mean, even with this movie in particular, I had a lot of promise for it, and having no closure with some plots, some plot lines, it's just that right there is just simple. You need to start it, end it, plot line, either the plot line or the story. That's simple movie making.
Quick note, okay, last note. So they advertised the film as this kid's from Mars and he's trying to connect with this girl from Earth, and that was how it's advertised, right? That part of the film is gone in the first 20 minutes. You don't even get that. Like it's like he's on Mars, she's on Earth, they're communicating, and he's like, I'm coming to Earth, and he's there. Like there's no buildup, there's no tension, there's no excitement. It's just he's on Earth now. Whereas the film advertised itself as if it was this long-lasting, established communication and this huge buildup for them to finally meet. No, they meet in the first act. That's easy. Like it was over so quickly. So that Mars aspect, the space aspect, is only in the first 20-30 minutes, and there's no more space after that. Yeah, it wasn't good, man. It was disappointing.
Robert Wanko, we definitely appreciate your input. It's always good to stir up conversation with that. And the next segment that we have for you guys here on the Mark and Andre Show, the only film, entertainment, and conspiracy theory podcast on Spreaker.com.
To our knowledge.
Let's talk about our Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos. This this woman is getting roasted.
This bitch.
Yeah, she's getting roasted when there's tons of videos of going around right now of Bernie Sanders just nailing her. Like, for the fact of saying,
it's sexual.
Do you believe that without your billionaire inheritance that you'd be in the position that you are in today? And she's like, well, no. And the funny thing is that she literally knows that. She knows that. Well, if I wasn't such a billion-dollar princess, I wouldn't be in the spot that I'm in today.
Right, and that's absolutely true. I mean,
to testify to that,
money fucking talks, dude. And I've been on like a social media blackout somewhat, so I've been hiding from all the bullshit. But Mark sent me this. This bitch is not qualified at all. I'm sorry to call the bitch a bitch, but the bitch is a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel that she should be in the position that she's in at all.
She's a literal heir to $1 billion. She's a devout Christian with zero education experience. She's been quoted in saying that every time she's donated to the Republican Party, that she's expecting some form of incentive for doing so. And lo and behold, let me just sip this chair back. Lo and behold, she's Secretary of Education.
Were there any questions?
No, at the moment, no. Okay.
She also never initially supported Donald Trump for president.
She did not. And it's really funny because social media is like, come on, don't ever write something years ago and expect a person not to go back and archive that shit. So she's gone on record to say that she does not support Trump and she never would. And then we fast forward and she's like, I am in full support of Trump. He's my, like, fuck yeah, he's my homie. Like, that kind of shit is hilarious to me because they act surprised when you show them the evidence of them writing and saying exactly the opposite of what they did years prior.
And I have two of the articles here for you guys. In February of 2016, this is a quote from the Washington Examiner from Betsy DeVos herself. I think more and more people are going to realize that they really don't trust him, Donald Trump. The more they learn about his record, they're going to break away and go to an alternate. And then we have a tweet from Betsy DeVos, November 23rd of 2016. I am honored to work with the president-elect on his vision to America, to making America great again. The status quo in education is unacceptable. So the question I have is, why the sudden change of heart? You know, what could it be that made Betsy DeVos so enthusiastic to be a part of the president's cabinet? Let's just put it out in the thing. Let's just put it out in the open here, Andre. She's bought.
She's bought, and she matches the agenda of everyone in the cabinet. I mean, she's a white Christian. I mean, her Christian beliefs are actually bleeding into her politics. which is really unfortunate because we're supposed to be separating church and state, but fuck that, you know what I mean? So when it comes down to her perspective on it, this is, I forgot to mention Rich. She's a billionaire. She doesn't understand the structure of public schools. She doesn't understand the experience of public schools. It's like, basically, she's going to own a portion of the NBA, and she's never been to a game. She's never played the sport. She knows nothing about it. But she's going to have a share, and she's going to own portions of this.
She's probably passed by a couple of public schools before in her life on the freeway. You gotta give her some credit.
She looked at a school bus. Get those kids out of my way.
What's that yellow thing?
Why are they darker than the kids that I know? I don't understand, because she even spoke on shifting and privatizing all education. If you guys don't understand what that means, she's basically going to form nonstop private schools that you have to pay for, come out of pocket to educate your children. And then everyone has to do it. And what she sees as public school will be transformed into government schools. So nigga schools, basically. Because she's trying to separate groups, and this has gone on record. They're saying that she's trying to separate groups of people. Unfortunately, minorities will not be able to afford this privatized schooling. So, of course, the government schooling is going to be for urban and minority groups.
What's worse than regular fucking school after that? Like, you can't afford... After Betsy DeVos pimps out the education system, she's going to have the private school that maybe the middle class can afford.
Right.
You're going to have, they're going to close down all the regular schools and make these
government schools. All these rundown shanties.
Project schools.
Just reading, but I can just see it now. You know what I mean? Using books from 1982. Like, you don't get anything higher than that.
Secretary DeVos, why does my kid think that the USSR is still an active place instead of Russia?
Well, I feel that in regards to government schooling, I think that the urban groups and the minorities should understand history from older periods and perspectives. All the new information won't matter to them because they'll never make it in society. And that's how I feel she treats us.
Well, only the strong will survive.
Only the...
That's what she's going to say. Oh, good old Betsy. The other thing I wanted to mention, too, is that when you contribute to the Republican Party, some people don't expect kickbacks.
Right.
Vince McMahon contributed to Donald Trump's campaign. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's expecting Donald Trump to show up at a fucking pay-per-view.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But Betsy DeVos, she contributed a ton of money to the Republican Party. And now with her zero education experience at all, she is now the Secretary of Education.
Right. So
Even the Secretary of... the one that actually is supposed to be environmentally conscious. I forget the actual chair's name, but the gentleman there, he's actually suing the EPA for carbon emission regulations.
Yes.
So the guy who's actually protecting our environment is actually suing the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, for changing the emissions. You might as well take your fucking kid and put a bag over him right now. Because the environment, we're all going to be in fucking water world by the time the EPA's the guy who's overwatching our environment within the United States, and now Betsy DeVos is going to start we're going to be in poor versions of regular school.
We're being fucking huts, man.
If you can't afford privately regulated schools, then we're going to have to send you to the other school.
We're going to have to send you to the concentration schools.
Oh my God.
Man, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but she's not qualified, guys. She seriously is not qualified. She has zero experience, and she went to private school.
I encourage you guys to look her up.
All of her education experience being taught, that is, was through private schools. She's never had the public school experience.
No.
And in regards to that, she has to have the prior head that was in her position. He was a former teacher, and he was also a former class, what was it? Board member,
principal,
like a dean or a board member of education. Yeah. So he had the experience. So he at least has some kind of perspective.
Were you a janitor at any of the schools, Betsy DeVos? If you're a janitor, that may give you more experience than you have now. Did you ever clean fucking throw up from a student? Fucking something?
Do you know what they
Sharpen
eat in
a
public
fucking
school?
pencil?
Do you know what they eat in public school? No, that's serious. A serious fucking question. Do you know what they eat at public school? They don't.
Do you know what the pizza tastes like?
Right. You don't get fucking salmon and shit. Like, I think she really, and it's unfortunate because if you were raised rich, honestly, guys, if you're raised rich, you simply cannot understand life on any scale below your living. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. I mean, even us, if we look at all of us, let's just say that we're majority, middle class, below middle class. So we have an understanding of that lifestyle, but we don't know what it's like to live in dirt huts, right? Yeah. We don't know what a third world form of poverty feels like. Yeah. We never even fathomed it. You know what I mean?
It's called being po.
Right.
So poor that you can't afford the OR.
You can't. You literally have to pay for it.
Yes.
When it comes to her, she is at the highest form of upper class. She's a billionaire, raised, born a billionaire. She has no understanding of life below her means.
Yeah.
So she's going to shift education towards the direction of people in the upper class.
With her ideals.
Fuck, man. And she's entirely going to morph everything into her belief system. She's Christian, and she's a very hardcore Christian.
Yeah,
hardcore conservative Christian. And she's, come on, man. Like,
what I don't really like, and I'm glad that you brought that up too, is that I don't like the fact that people are taking a 2,000-year-old book during the time where they wrote it with fucking chisels on tablets and didn't know where the sun went down at night.
Right.
They're taking those ideas and they're making it public policy.
Yes.
That's truly unacceptable, especially for the time that we're in now, where it's a conscious shift that we're doing now because we're not settling for the old traditionalistic ways now. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy, and we're having it right here in our very very own eyes.
I mean, I'm sure some of you are asking, well, why do you care? You're not in the education system, and you don't have to deal with it personally. But our children are the future, man. Like, not to be cheesy, like these kids are geniuses now. Like your average at this day and age, like a 1-year-old can operate and use apps on their tablets. I mean, we weren't even capable of doing that at our age. When we were youth, we were still playing with little blocks and putting them in their accorded spots. But when you look at these new youths, they can do things that people can't even fathom. They're walking earlier than your average child. They are educated to the point where when they start something like kindergarten, they're actually thinking at a 1st to 2nd grade level. Look that shit up. These kids are way smarter than they've ever been. So if you're changing up the system, you're going to fuck them over in the future. So I'm just like, I don't understand. Money talks that much to the point where we put this bitch in the spot. I don't want to, I mean, no disrespect to the bitch, seriously. She's probably a good person somewhere. She probably has a good part of her heart in some place in her body. But from where she is, her position shouldn't be in that spot. Exactly. She shouldn't do it.
If you need more insight on Betsy DeVos herself, there's tons of viral videos where Bernie Sanders roasting in on her. Actually, there's more videos of people actually talking shit about her than anything positive. That should lead you into the right direction, shouldn't it? So the next topic that we want to get away here on the Mark and Andre show. We've been seeing a lot of protests lately. In week 3 of the Trump regime, we've been seeing a few things go down. But the question that we want to ask you, actual ideals behind it, or are you protesting for the sake of media attention on social media and not the actual issue? And we support anyone expressing their freedom of speech. We totally respect that, but there is a certain amount of effort that needs to be applied with that, and I'll go into explaining that. I want to reference J.K. Rowling. She recently shared her opinion on her opposition of Donald Trump. She had anti-Trump tweets on her Twitter account, and people that are pro-Trump were starting to use the hashtag ban Harry Potter, ban J.K. Rowling, and she actually responded with a couple tweets. I remember the series of tweets went like this: is like, well, now I'm going to burn all my Harry Potter books, my Harry Potter movies, and everything there. And J.K. Rowling snapped back. She's like, well, don't
I already have your money.
Yeah, I already have your money, but make sure not to inhale the DVD fumes. They might be very poisonous.
You could use my lighter.
I know, exactly. And you could use my lighter, as a matter of fact. And this got me thinking. is that
Should we burn Harry Potter books?
no. It's
Oh.
that the person tweeting it isn't realistically going to pile up the Harry Potter books and burn them. They're just saying it for the sake of saying it.
They're almost saying it to get that attention from her to talk back to them.
The only time it gets real is when sports fans, when the Chargers relocated from San Diego to Los Angeles, they were burning jerseys.
Right,
Same
they
thing
were.
with LeBron going from Miami back to Cleveland, and he's back to Cleveland again.
Right.
They'll burn all his jerseys for the sake of. But with this, if you're just saying it on the internet and not actually doing it, are you doing it just for the sake of saying it on social media?
And this ties into the whole protest concept.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just talking that shit because they can. I mean, that's where we are. This is our society. I can say whatever the fuck I want to right now. I can hit up Tay Diggs and say, "You ugly bitch,"
Andre.
and mean it, and it won't mean anything because he won't come at me. He'll respond through text, but he's not gonna come to my house and fuck me up.
Andre, I want to. For an example. Andre here. This is just completely fictional anyway, but Andre here went to the North Dakota pipeline protest.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show my support by checking in thousands of miles away on a nice, warm bed, having
Sipping
8
hot
hours
Coke.
of good fucking sleep,
Right.
and just show my support. I want to check in with you, buddy.
No, I'm at the pipelines getting sprayed with fucking, pepper spray and sprayed with cold water in the snow and sleeping in a tent.
Protesting has gotten too simple.
But I mean, I see where you're coming from. I'm in North Dakota suffering for the cause, like, because I care that much about it. I'm with the Native Americans smoking like crack and shit. What do they smoke? Like their peace pipes. They're smoking their peace pipes, and we're just chilling, and we're like, we're praying to the goose or whatever they do, and like I'm there though. I'm physically there, and I'm about the cause, and I'm suffering with them. I'm in those conditions that you guys are seeing in pictures. I've been pepper sprayed. Like, I've been in that shit, right? Mm-hmm. And my buddy hits me up like, Dre, I know you're suffering out there. I tweeted that, I'm with you. I followed the hashtag. That's bullshit. He didn't do anything.
Follow the hashtag, bro. Bump it.
Yeah, but...
and the fact that...
my eyes are swollen and red, and he's just at home chilling.
Say the fact that even if I had more clout on social media, my shit would get across better than yours versus you actually fucking doing it. I hate the fact that it's gotten too simple.
Well, you're speaking more on awareness. So
yeah, but
he could spread awareness, but my suffering would be what would be the action needed to make things change.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because I personally experienced this, I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see the Dakota Access Pipeline and I see some Native American get punched in the face. I just keep scrolling. Because I'm not there, it's not my problem physically. Yeah. But I know another person will do the same thing. They'll see it and go, oh, I feel something, hashtag North Dakota, and then check in. That's their form of protesting. But that doesn't do anything. These online protests, these non-physical protests, they don't do much. And for the person to do the protest, it's you fucking bullshitting. Like, you don't really care. Because if you really cared, you'd be more vocal. You'd actually take that to work with you. You'd wear a shirt and be at your job. You might even actually boycott at your job. There are people that shut down freeways to protest how they felt about current events. Yeah. That's fucking crazy, right? But they did it, and they put themselves out there. They put themselves on the line.
Exactly.
That's the form of a protest. That's what a protest is about. You are putting your comfort on the line to express something that you are not pleased with as an individual in this country. But me being at home playing fucking Xbox, getting head, and fucking writing in some bullshit like I'm checking into Dakota or I'm with the women's march or whatever, that I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing shit. And also, I mean, to be real, some people even go to these events as a way of hanging out, like the women's protest, right? Yeah. I won't go too deep on that, but just say the women's protest. There were guys just there,
trying to fucking some chicks.
They get no sign. Yeah, trying to.
Are you hitting on me at a protest?
Completely missing the point.
Exactly.
I'll give you something to protest. Like, you want to hold something? You want to hold something else?
I got a sign for you to hold.
But they were just there. They weren't about the protest. They were just present to be a part of something. Yeah. Real quick, one more thing. Oh, yeah. People bring their fucking children. I was asking online, like, is it weird to bring your 2-year-old to a woman's protest when the 2-year-old has no clue about what's going on, and you give them a sign that you wrote yourself for them to hold up so somebody could take a picture and put it on social media?
Saying that Trump is a Nazi. Trump
is a little baby holding the Trump is, come on, man. The Gerber baby himself is holding the Trump is a Nazi poster. Like, I don't think that's effective. And rioting in the streets, that's a form of protest. But even, I don't know, these protests aren't really doing much because Trump is just continuing with what he does. But the online thing doesn't help at all either. It just brings awareness, but it brings more awareness to people that use the same tactic. Oh, hashtag I'm sad about this event. Oh, damn, that's a fucked up event. Hashtag I'm sad about this event too. And that's all you're going to get. Nobody else is going to change. Nothing's going to fucking shift. Yeah. Sorry, I'm very passionate.
So the fact is that it starts with you internally believing really passionately about the issue that you're going to protest. Mm-hmm. And it's about using social media and the fact that you have to physically do something. Mm-hmm.
Combination of
you have to combine it with action, and that's all we want to get that's all we want to tell you here on the show is that not a status update, not a hashtag, but using social media with action. Women's March, the Million Man March. What are we going to do? Hashtag marches? Like you can't just hashtag while going to work.
Hashtag march.
You can't hashtag while going to work saying you support a cause and then you go back and completely forget about what you were supporting.
We're going to have virtual marches in the future. Everyone's going to be on VR and there's going to be a bunch of avatars walking down a fake little lane. Like, that's how simple it is nowadays. You don't have to be physically anywhere, I think blending both, like you said, action is necessary. But if you are present at the event and you are truly protesting and then you throw out a hashtag, that's more reasonable. That actually does something. But for me to say, Trump, you think Trump gives a fuck about what you think? If I wrote the real Trump's Twitter right now and said, you a bitch, and mean it, he's going to write some quirky thing back to me and his life's going to continue the same way. Or he's not going to write shit. Celebrities talk shit about him all day, every day. Everyone talks shit about him all day, every day. Nobody cares. He's done more controversial things that you can do in 8 days than most people can do in a lifetime, and he doesn't give a fuck. So these protests, they can be visibly impressive. Even the Women's March, that was visibly impressive. That was a worldwide protest, and it meant so much. Yeah. But answer this question: what changed? What changed after the protest? Was anything answered?
Trump's still in office. They
could have
They could have literally stormed DC and asked for an impeachment at that point, but they didn't. It didn't happen.
Right.
The lifelong saying is the picture's worth 1,000 words, and we're still trying to find the value of a hashtag. But one quick note about this is that I wanted to briefly cover the UC Berkeley protest. So 1,500 people gathered in protest at UC Berkeley not too long ago to protest the guy Milo Yiannopoulos, the guy who actually started this harassment thing against Leslie Jones to leak her. They ended up eventually hacking into her personal site and finding nudes of Leslie Jones from Ghostbusters fame.
Butthole pics.
The 1,500 people involved actually started destroying UC Berkeley.
Fucking up the campus, tearing it apart.
This is like the story, this reminds me of the story of how the barbarians invaded the Library of Alexandria. And they destroyed the shit, destroyed knowledge. But no. In this case, the Greeks go and invade their own shit, and they decide, I'm going to fuck up my own stuff. I'm going to throw guardrails on the glass, but I'm a student here, so I'll be in this class
I'll be in class tomorrow, apologizing to my professor.
Destroying your own school is one of the most tasteless things I've ever seen. I'm not a big fan of the college system myself, but to each their own. But that is destroying the source of where you learn, the source of your knowledge, where you get it. Destroying your own campus is not cool with me. And you know what? Donald Trump actually recently said that he might cut the funding for UC Berkeley, and that is. We're all for that because that's just really ridiculous at this point.
Is destruction the answer, man?
No.
Exactly.
That's straight to the point.
You can get volumes can be spoken without breaking shit. You know what I mean? Especially during the protest. And I feel that the people, any of those 1,500 people that were involved in the UC Berkeley incident, if they actually hear this show, literally, we can have a talk about it and discuss it on the podcast. And I want to know your input of why you would actually want to destroy your own campus, even create bonfires, diesel fuel assisted bonfires at that point.
And they might have a justification for why they did it, but if you're still staying at the school that you're being educated at that you destroyed, that's not a very educated move. So,
exactly.
What the fuck, dude? So I don't get that form of protest either.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's just people outraged all throughout this country. People are just pissed at everything. But I just don't feel like this is the way to go about things. And Mark in the past actually made a point, and it was like the Million Man March was effective. It worked. The rights were shifted and shit went down after the Million Man March. It seems like we can't replicate that shit, and we have more people than ever. We have more outlets to express ourselves, and we're fucking up. I don't know how this isn't working. Rioting and destroying your own shit, I don't think that's the answer. Protesting online and doing hashtags, I don't think that's the answer either, because it just gives the news media outlets another way to spin the story in a worse way.
Exactly.
Physically being there and doing a huge protest should mean something, but once again, the Women's March had a huge, it should have had an impact. Something should have happened, but it went to show that we don't give a fuck. We're so sexist, we just laughed at that and kept things moving. The women's protest was world record breaking. It's a world record breaking protest.
7 countries were involved as well in the protest.
There was 1.5 million vaginas, man. Think about that. Put that in your head and envision that many vaginas lined up in a row. You can't. It's too many. And nobody cared. That was a very serious protest. This was about their rights. And it's we just moved on. People don't even know what the protest was about. So, at the end of the day, we bitching. This is our form of protest in a weird way, and exactly. I don't think it's as effective. I don't think there's a super effective way to protest. I just know that everybody's pissed. Everyone's mad. But I don't know the best route to go about things. But I don't see anything changing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that if there's a protest, there hasn't been a great protest of such magnitude that it actually changed things within the system itself that they're protesting against. Right. And it sucks, but that's what our right is. We have the right to protest things, and we still have that ability. We have to be thankful to it, man. I even mentioned it when President Trump got elected. I was like, well, at least you're not in a country where the person that's leading your nation actually has the ability to be chosen. Mm-hmm. And then I even added to the fact, I'm like, just be glad too that Facebook isn't banned and you don't have freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. You don't have freedom of the press. Mm-hmm. North Korea controls their governments. North Korea controls the media
and their internet.
So
you wouldn't even be able to do this in North Korea.
There's a lot of people that don't even know a North Korean because of how shut down that place is. Mm-hmm. Be wise. Don't destroy your own don't go in your house and protest a bad sandwich made by your mom and then fuck up your own house. Right. That's just doesn't
get better sandwiches to you.
It definitely won't. Don't fuck up your own campus, for the love of God. That's fucking ridiculous.
Be mature. Be educated as a college group.
Yeah, exactly. How are you college educated and think slamming a guardrail against your library glass window is going to do anything?
Burn the books. I don't get it.
I want to be smarter. Burn the books.
Right.
Totally makes sense.
Right.
The other topic I wanted to get taken care of here on the Mark and Andre podcast show, sponsored by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. You can follow Game Swappers on Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. By the way, we are here in lovely Redlands, California at The Orange Space. Make sure to contact and Google search The Orange Space for more details on what you want to do. If you want to be here studying by yourself, you can actually occupy a single desk space for a month at a time, a week, daily, whatever you want to do. If you just want to pop in and learn, actually study a few things just on one time, you can even do that. Come give the Orange Space a try. It's a space, and it's orange. The other thing is that Game Swappers is going to be at booth 203 at the Southern California Retrospective Gaming Exposition at the Southern California Ontario Convention Center.
Fuck.
It's called SoCal. People cut it. Oh, you go to SoCal Retro? And then I refuse to do that. Call it. There's so many. It's already cut short so many times as it is. I'd rather say it long ways. It sounds funnier. People want to boycott Starbucks. Andre. People want to boycott Uber because the CEO of Uber and Starbucks are involved with President Trump's Economic Advisory Group. But they're kind of missing the bigger picture.
Right.
You know, not a lot of people know this, but there's people on social media that are trying to ban Starbucks, trying to ban Uber, going to Lyft, going to alternative modes of transportation, and actually making their own coffee for a change.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Uber is a massive company that, if you don't know about Uber by now, what the fuck, dude? But Uber is a massive company that distributes coffee around the nation, while Starbucks is one of the leading transportation groups. If it's an online service that you just hit up somebody on your app, and they'll come through in the Starbucks car, and they'll take you wherever you need to go. It's one of the best programs. These are two of the top leading companies actually in the world right now. So to have these two groups contributing to Trump's groups, fuck, I'm tired, guys. For these guys to be contributing towards Trump's economic group, it's technically a good thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are boycotting them, but it's like you guys are missing. Yeah, like you mentioned, you're missing the bigger picture. We might need them to keep some reason in this fucking group. They might actually, these are two businesses that know what they're doing. Yeah. Uber single-handedly shut down taxis, technically. Like, Uber is the new taxi.
Gave a chance for people to actually make side cash. Mm-hmm. You know, tons of opportunities. They've done more good than bad.
Absolutely.
And the fact of them joining Donald Trump's Economic Advisory Group isn't a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
They're giving homeboy pointers on what to do for his economic vision going forward.
It's a mastermind, as they call it in business.
And what I want to get to too is that if you want to boycott Starbucks and Uber because they are part of Donald Trump's Economic Advisory Group, then you're also going to have to boycott these other people as well. And I'm going to name this list off.
Snitching.
And yeah, so I want you to keep your
protesting.
I know. Keep boycotting these other groups too, and then after that, you're probably going to have to start your own fucking farm or something, or get off the grid entirely, because the people that are involved in Donald Trump's Economic Advisory Group are the CEO of Uber, CEO of Starbucks, Elon Musk of Solar City and Tesla fame, Mary Barra from General Motors, so no driving any GM cars for you guys. Indra Nooyi, CEO of Pepsi, so no Dasani water, no Pepsi, 7-Up, etc. Make sure to protest that. And PepsiCo branches out to several other offshoot companies as well. Ginny Rometty from IBM. So there's a few IBM products, cash registers. Make sure you boycott your cash registers that you use for your small business. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney. So make sure you boycott Disneyland, Disney World, LucasArts, Star Wars, Marvel. Make sure you boycott all that. So you can't watch Marvel, Star Wars, Indiana Jones spinoffs. Make sure you boycott all that.
Tell that fucking mouse to take a hike. Don't interact with that whatsoever.
Yeah, and
no Disneyland trips. Don't do those. Disney World, say goodbye.
Remember, because they're part of the Economic Advisory Group. You want to include everything, guys. And Jack Welch, the chairman of General Electric. So make sure there's no breakers for your General Electric circuit breakers. Make sure you take those out and just start fiddling into the live grid and get your hands fried, possibly your body too.
Jay-Z, say goodbye to your hip hop.
You have to resort to polka music and listening to it from a fake iPod.
But look at these groups. All these groups that Mark shared. Like, why is no one boycotting them? What's the difference? Because is Starbucks easy to let go of? Is coffee you can find an easy alternative to making coffee, right?
Yeah.
You can find an easy alternative to Uber because Lyft exists. But do you have an alternative for your computer? Do you have an alternative for... Because let's say fucking Mark Zuckerberg, joins the fray. You guys going to stop using Facebook? No. You'll never stop using Facebook.
Justin Timberlake gets rich again because everyone goes to MySpace. It's back to MySpace, guys. We got to pack up our shit.
We got to pack our shit and just go back to where we came from. Go back to our roots.
Right back to where you started from.
So, why don't they boycott these other guys? Do they not know? Did they not do their research? They obviously did their research because they would have known that, As a matter of fact, I believe, who did it? I think the Starbucks CEO snitched on everybody. He's like, if you guys don't like me, then you're going to hate these guys.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is like one of my business like influences.
He was my boss at one point.
He was his boss at one point, like no joke. Elon Musk has been pushing society forward. He has, like, with what he's brought to the table, he's changed business entirely. The development of Tesla is a breakthrough for humanity. Like
The Tesla vehicle.
Tesla vehicle, his soon-to-be solar panel rooftops that are the same prices as your roof. Like, come on, like this guy has been nothing but progressive.
Yes.
So for him to join this group, he's trying to help. He's only concerned about the highest interest of humankind. Unless I'm a dumbass and I like this guy for no reason.
And Elon Musk is actually an evil Iron Man.
Evil.
He's like, you guys fell for it. You guys fell for a foreigner with a funny accent again.
His solar panels are all like destructive. Like they actually.
That's the timer.
But when it comes to all the Teslas lock up on people and just drive off cliffs.
Start demolition derby mode activated.
Self-drive to death, like, you know. So I don't see why you guys, you know, you're so picky on what you hate. Starbucks is easy to alternate. You can alternate from Starbucks. You can alternate from Uber. Yeah. But can you alternate from Tesla? No.
Or Pepsi?
Or Pepsi? Can you alternate for Pepsi? No. A lot of you fuckers love Pepsi.
Luckily, I drink Coca-Cola brewed in the Colorado Rockies, triple distilled, and ooh, it's a good old taste. Some guys literally in the deep parts of Louisiana be like, he's listening to our podcast, like, good thing I drink Coke.
Put some on his car battery to get the corrosion off.
We love everyone that listens to the Mark and Andre podcast show. Just FYI, it's just our comedic approach to making this situation a lot more human, because it's just
nightmarish.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to boycott Uber and boycott Starbucks, and you want to actually, you know, make enemies of the Economic Advisory Board of Donald Trump's, then you're going to have to do it to every single one of these people. And once it starts branching out to this, you have nothing to use. You literally will have to be naked with no clothes, because everyone's somehow Pepsi owns a part of Forever 21. I don't know.
Everything's tied to something. Yeah. But boycotting big business is not effective.
No.
Sorry, guys.
So
wherever you put the money, Lyft and Uber pull from the same pool of finance. So for you to just shift it to another entity, you're still contributing to the same beast. So Starbucks, you guys are not going to be putting money towards Starbucks, but you're going to go to Coffee Bean, which is still on its competitor.
Or buy Starbucks coffee grounds that you're going to make at the house.
Right. Or from Pepsi to Coke, you're still feeding the same beast. Yeah. So I understand your boycotts. The boycott is a way to express your disdain for what they're doing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, your money is leaving your pocket, and it's not going to you. It's going to the beast again.
Us Americans keep spending money. I'll tell you that.
Dough. Spend that dough, baby.
The last topic I want to get to is actually no topic at all, because we are done here on the Mark and Andre podcast show. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to actually, you know, my vision for this podcast and for all three of the Mark F podcast shows is to get about 500 plays a week. It won't happen without you guys. Please do not wait till we're famous to listen to the show. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Please just listen in. That's all I can tell you guys. I mean, I do this because I know that what I want to get across and what me and Andre want to get across as a whole show together, that it is going to be successful. We all need it. We all need help at one point in our lives, and you know, we need help sharing the show, like, sharing, and subscribing. That's all I can ask. If you get a chuckle, what we do when we actually crack jokes amidst this.
We have been a bit more serious in the past few weeks, only because shit is actually kind of serious right now.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what's going to happen in this world.
It sucks too, because
if you listen to our old, we had far more fun doing these. It's just, it's not playtime right now. Yeah. Like, shit could really be burning down real soon.
Once this whole Donald Trump regime comes to a impeached halt, did someone say peaches? The same guy from Louisiana is getting excited now.
Opens the next Coke.
I hope he gets impeached. But anyway, it's just once this whole political frenzy sizzles down, he's the hot topic right now. Once we get back into, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be in the trending category that we can go back and make fun of. find more humor in it. I try to take every topic that I do here on the Mark and Andre podcast show and find the good, find the funny, make you guys laugh, keep you guys informed. That's the whole ideal. That's what I always wanted to do.
I didn't know that.
Wait, this is a show?
We're doing this.
Like Truman showed your ass.
Other people listen? I thought we were just chilling, man.
This has been a show your whole life, Andre.
Oh, fuck, man. I didn't know.
I want to leave the ground for Andre for his shameless promotion on Lyricology 101.
Shameless promotion time, guys. If you guys don't know by now, I'm a hip-hop instructor. I teach rap. I show people how to rap stuff with words and rapping. But I know a lot of you guys don't really like rap or understand how rap works. So I have a show on YouTube that basically takes popular rap songs and dissects them lyric by lyric. I explain what the rhymes mean, how they constructed them, what the meaning of the lines are, what metaphors they use, what technique they use, almost down to a scientific mathematical level. So if you guys want to check it out, it's youtube.com/Andre Gainer. That's youtube.com/ANDREGAINER. The channel is called Lyricology 101. We're at 38,000 subs, so if you guys want to contribute to that, please do. If you guys check out the show and you're from here, let me know. Say hey, I'm from Green Thing. I'm from the Mark and Andre show. Just show some love. Say what's up. If not, check me out whenever you can. Love you guys. Thank you so much. If you have checked out the show, I appreciate it. And thank you guys for listening to the Mark and Andre show. We have a lot of fun doing this, man. This tickles my fancy.
We expect to tickle more than your fancies. More episodes to come. We're almost at the year anniversary of the Mark and Andre podcast show. So
we might have hit it, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet. So we have to go back to the books.
We have to check out the first episode and see what day it was.
I'm like, I deleted all the files. And every episode that we've done next week, I wanted to save space on my hard drive and just keep deleting it. There is no record. I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Mark and Andre podcast show. You guys have a good night and take care. Beautiful, beautiful. That's a good little slicky do. What? You don't like getting help?